on your mind? What's the situation? Need you here. Tired of the wait and see a killer in a black.
Daniel's solo music had always ventured to the dark inside, but ever since Mo he's peeled back layer of the human side that people often prefer keeping to themselves. Mo he invited people into his world to dance to his own way. When he dangled the decadent simple result of physical attraction like an unattainable fruit. It's uncriminal, however, that he completely crosses over, destroying more he says that he embraced the alternate version of himself, despite knowing full well that it might just be beginning of the end. What makes Criminal even more compelling is how Timon controls the chaos in the song. His music always uses visual imagery as an expression, working in tandem with the music, and as he looks around, plays and during it, or beckons the danger closer, you get the feeling that he's also appealing to the alter ego inside of you. By the time it ends, you honestly wonder whether giving it would be so bad. That on one of the tallest groups in the K-pop industry excels in catwalk-ready K-pop. Nine first experimented with fashionable house music on Now or Never back in 2018, but they perfected the formula on Good Guy. The song pays homage to house music's roomy visuals and sounds alike, with black and white clips reminiscent of 90s dance music with the aesthetic. Classic house percussion and piano offsetting this briefly handler vocals and a good refrain that mimics the John score on the floor structure. In spite of the track's suave sound, the lyric has F9 practically they into a live interest for a chance, closing on the line "Hold me tight before it's too late." But even though it's doubtful that they'll get the girl, it doesn't matter. This good guy is still. Is there a sonic motif that had as big a urine K-pop as the funky bass line? The funky bass line featured prominently in countless vocal releases, and while many acts were content with letting TFE do all the heavy lifting, Stray Kids' adherence to their more is more MO gave it a much-needed makeover. Co-produced by members Baekhyun, Changbin and Han, Baekhyun welcomes you in with TFE and inserts you with its cheeky on-the-nose door cracks, its coolly confident vocal performance, and its pumping floor-filming EDM final. Baekhyun's Ricky tightened their production without issuing any exuberance, transforming their signature bombastic EDM into something more sophisticated has connected with a worldwide fanbase in large part thanks to the universal but still personal themes of their music, and Black Swan represent one of their most intimate confessions. Dreamy, gloomy hip-hop soundscapes lay the backdrop for the chart toppers to open up about their darkest fears, that they may one day fall out of love with music, using the title as a metaphor to represent both the one-of-a-kind phenomenon they are and the 2010 movie where a ballerina makes the ultimate sacrifice for her art. The superstars test investigation their underlying anxieties until declaring they won't let fear with over passion in the end. It's the full-fledged motion picture packed into just over 3 minutes to tell a real-life story of one of the world's biggest stars.
I'm warning to myself 너 그러면 안 돼 매번 맺혀 내 맘이 내 맘을 좋아해 out of control 나를 감시하는 those walls.
Like Dua Lipa and Lady Gaga twice were hit to electro bass lines which were uniting soft the girl group as in the elastic strobing scenes that pulses under the glamorous new disco track and it snaps into formation come the chorus. The song calls for a grand celebration, but they're too distracted, try not to indulge to their own treacherous desires. I just can't go back anymore out of control. Young sings before the rest of the group fully surrender to temptation. Twice try to keep cool, though it's hard to notice when they nail such a spotless performance. A great year for soloists in K-pop, and no one was more honest with themselves than Boots. The push and pull of any romance is often the most enticing yet stressful aspect of it all. Amidst airy promises from his lover is the dreary prospect of being left alone, but he offers his mixed messaging with a refreshing candor. In our own Vocals of faltering and callbacks assurance and missed message Bum Bum was comfortingly straightforward. With Woz ruling what he wants, exactly how he wants it. It was the wrong year to be young and in love in 2020, but at least we had Woz to keep us company. Vicky Vicky revamped their approach include by swapping their groovy dance pop for silly electro. The group's demand raised and spartan as the IC beat and they amplified their bratty voice to assert their flawlessness. Their cockiness peaks in the chorus, which doubles as a tone and a mantra. Be hot or beyond the control. They sing like a drill instructor. Get out all this boring rules. If cool sounds standoffish, then the song's success at what it set out to do. Ikimiki to inspire to be a role model for sustainable girl crush cool, but instead point out the gap between you and them. Cool is a conceited celebration of self, so sometimes it just feels satisfying to flaunt what you got.
Hey 느낌이 너무 이상한 걸 좀.
Of remaining calm in the presence of past love even when whose heart is still beating dumped around for them, a concept that could be difficult for younger groups to believably pull off. This major message successfully connected with a large audience and dumped around became a knockout success in both Korea and the Billboard charts. 9 years into their career, Pink are still more than equipped to bring their A game and that deserve large recognition all in itself for industry to pay equal attention to both its senior and developing artists. It's built on the idea of modern witches, at the center of which are women who exercise the same agency and power of the song's namesakes and different have fun while doing it. Interspersed with images of the girl dancing the night away, not what you expect from a concept dealing with the occult or lyrics that brim with confidence and ambition. Instead of believing in fairy tales and waiting for Prince Charming, they only lower the images of themselves smiling in the mirror. It's a cheeky way to poke fun at how society perceives self-assured women. Since the title itself translates to wizard and celebrating their limitless ambition, Mago casts a spell that keeps you coming back for more. This is a sign for transforming every moment into a cause for celebration. In a time when in-person parties aren't possible, let's have a right convert bedroom to dance floors. And with blatant shouts and energy rapping, they tell you to keep your chin up, run down red carpet to dance. 7 acts add leather and hype man here, but the real dig for this is that all life coach. Despite their talk of race and finish lines, they exclaim that not running is an answer to who cares what we do. They grant permission to simply be a reminder that surviving every day is enough right now. And after all, if you're not moving forward, why not move left and right, right? They understand something that could be and should be taught in school around the world. Thanks to a virtual flattering of brothers, musical trends in the States now get reflected in K-pop in real time. Throughout 2020, throwback sounds were ubiquitous. This year's K-pop magnum opus, Everglow La Di Da, mirrored the US pop magnum opus, The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, only months after its release. Whatever The Weeknd's work is chilling and sinister in its search for love, Everglow is a sprite reserved to all the haters, the bad guys and the players, a successful pastiche of the 80s that crafted by producer Olipop La Di Da blends myriad influences.